Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. I really want to talk about and expose the real value of silver. Not the spot price attached to silver, but the value that it really has in the economy, in the society, in the industrial world, the technological world, even the medical world. Silver is widely used. It's a necessity. It's an asset. It's a commodity. Silver isn't just valuable because it's shiny. People don't need it just because it's shiny or just because it looks cool. There are real world uses for silver. So before we really dive into this video, make sure you smash the like button. Let's see if this video can get 200 likes. Everyone, go hit the like button right now. 3, 2, 1, bam! Thank you so much for liking this video. I know you guys just liked it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But anyways, so yeah. There's a lot of different angles we can take this topic because one, silver's been manipulated, been kept undervalued in a sheltered bubble from the higher ups, but two, its natural price still isn't doing much even compared to gold. I mean, we look at the gold to silver ratio and it's sitting at 120 to 1, which means it takes 120 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold, so we don't have much to go off of, right? If I was to bring an outsider into the market of precious metals, they would look at gold and say, yeah, gold's above 1700, it's looking great, but what about silver? So how could I encourage, how could I influence someone to make them believe that silver has so much potential? Well, that's where I come into play. That is where my forte is. Because I've been studying silver for over 7 years now and stacking since a kid. And I understand how these markets work. I found the pattern. I found the missing puzzle piece. And there are several different things, several different reasons, several different situations, several different instances that all connect to make it lead to one thing. It just hasn't happened yet. Are you patient enough to wait until it does, though? See, we could talk about silver being, let's throw out, if I was talking to an audience right now, what do you think a high silver price would be? Answer that in your head. $30, $50, $100, $20. It depends. You're desensitized to whatever price you got into it when you started stacking. So let's say you got in a couple of years ago when silver was $21. So right now, silver seems really cheap to you, right? Because you're desensitized to that $21 price range. But let's say someone got in at $5. So right now, they're desensitized to $5. So right now, $15, $16 silver is extremely high. Just like with Bitcoin, I got into Bitcoin at $1,800. So right now, even though Bitcoin isn't doing well, $7,000, $8,000 Bitcoin is amazing for me. But if someone started to get into the market when it was $18,000, $7,000 Bitcoin seems like a nightmare. So it really is all upon perspective. And you have to remember that. You have to remember it's your perspective and it's not the reality of the markets. The markets have a life form of their own. And silver is much more valuable than any type of spot price attached to it, because regardless of what that coin is worth or how much whoever says that 1 ounce coin is worth, the real value inside that coin is the metal content, and nobody can take that away from it. No government, no Federal Reserve, nobody can take away the value that silver has within itself, and that's intrinsic value, ladies and gentlemen. Just let that sink in real quick. Let that sink in. So now we can talk about some other reasons. Not just the gold to silver ratio, but silver isn't as openly accessible as people think. Silver is actually pretty scarce. It's actually extremely hard to dig it out the ground. It's not like lead and zinc where it's plentiful, right? Silver is actually hard to find. And it takes manpower, and actually, it's not that profitable. So miners don't even want to dig it out the ground. They would rather dig up gold where it's profitable. So most silver that's found is found by accident. It's not found on purpose. There's barely any focal single silver mines. There's there's nobody's focusing on silver because they're all chasing the dollar. Cash is king, right? So if that's the case, let's say that's the case, which it is, there's a lot more gold being dug out the ground than silver right now. So the gold to silver ratio, even though it comes out of the ground roughly 8 to 1, it's actually much smaller than that. And why? Well, because a lot of gold is recycled, reused. Everyone's going through their gold jewelry drawers, taking off their earrings, going to pawn their grandma's wedding ring or whatever the case is. But silver is not profitable in that realm. So a lot of silver is lost. Gold is recycled, reused, rescrapped, remelted. Silver, on the other hand, is lost in these landfills. So even though the ratio is 8 to 1, it's actually much lower than that, thinking about how much gold is recycled and how much silver is lost. So if we think about that, we think about the gold to silver ratio, 120 plus to 1, but it comes out of the ground 8 to 1, and actually less than that because a lot of gold is recycled and a lot of silver is lost. It's only probably around 3 to 1. So why is gold 120 times more valuable than silver if there's only around, it's almost equivalent above ground? Why is that? Why is that? Well, that's because there is manipulation. Manipulation. The earliest form of manipulation was back in the biblical days, the Egyptians. 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold. Right then, there and then, they said that silver isn't as valuable as gold. Why though? Why? Back then, silver was seen as magical. Silver was magical to them back in the day. It could purify water. Silver could purify water. It responded with elements unlike any other metal. They thought it was magic, pure magic. So, if it was 2.5 to 1, that's still not bad though, right? So what happened? How did it get to 124 to 1? Well, the first real manipulation was from FDR. Yes, our president, FDR, in the 1930s. He changed, and this is a real statistic, you can look it up. He changed the gold to silver ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. That's real. Why did he do this? He was, during that time, you know about other monetary policies that came into play, especially when he was in office. He made silver undervalued on purpose, devalued silver. It got rid of the gold to silver standard, which led to the 1965s, the last time we saw our money ever backed by anything with real value. And that lawful money, that legal tender, nowadays is just a promissory note. It's a promise. It's based off of faith. So if it's based off of faith, then why wouldn't they want something that's backed by real value? Well, it's because they can enslave you. If you're in debt, you are a slave to the system, and they want to control you. It's power. It's a power move. It's a power play. That's why gold and silver is a direct threat, and that's also why they don't want you investing in the gold and silver. That's why gold and silver is seen as the rebellious metal, is because it's a direct threat to the US dollar, to fiat currency. It's a direct threat. If you started investing in the gold and silver and found the reality out, they are no longer in control of you, and that in return scares them. That's why they'll talk about silver, but they'll talk about it in a sluggish, bearish way. Oh, silver and gold, that's a bear market. But they're never going to talk about silver was just $50 not even 10 years ago. They won't mention that part. They're going to mention how it's been so slow since July 2016 high of $21, right? They're not going to talk about $50 silver twice in the last 30, 40 years. Or how there's a silver shortage and how much demand, the supply and demand can't be met, where it's going to shoot the price up. They're not going to talk about that. They're going to talk about the bad things because they want to paint that picture in your eyes as silver is no good. It's for the people that wear tinfoil hats, just like Bitcoin. And then when Bitcoin shoots up to $18,000, they're the ones buying most of it, right? So anyways, I hope you understand now the real value that silver has, the real potential silver has. I hope this video opened up your eyes. Make sure to share this video with friends and family. Share this video so people can realize, can understand the reality of the situation that we are in, is that we have a highly likely chance of extremely high silver prices. We're talking about history making, and we're talking about livelihoods changing. We're talking about financial freedom. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This is Silver Slayer. I will see you guys soon. Peace.